let's talk about the laws of UX in funnel language and how human psychology quietly decides whether your funnel converts or not. And this is going to be basically a masterclass for anyone who builds things that ask people to act. Okay. And the main reason why is because people are people. They move based on emotion stuff, logical stuff, and so on. So let's go ahead and keep growing. So about 70 of every 100 people who add something to the cart never actually buy. They wanted the thing, they picked it up, then they walked away. Nobody stopped them, nothing actually broke, they just walked away. Something invisible happened, and that something is what haunts people. Okay, so the funnel asked their brain to do more work than their brain wanted to do, simply put. And a brain asked to do work too hard simply leaves. That is the whole game of online purchases and online marketing. So let's analyze the invisible rules. The first one, the foundations. Why funnels are a brain problem and not really a design problem is called that way. I find it to be a little bit cliche, but it's actually the foundations of everything. Your brain is 2% of your body weight and it burns 20% of your energy. And so why is this really important? Thinking is expensive, so the brain protects itself. It skips, schemes, guesses, and quits, always hunting the cheapest path through any task. This is why things like the magical pill exist. This is why things like the new shiny object exist, because those things tend to hit this part, okay? And your funnel is competing with the urge to stop thinking. A funnel is a series of requests for effort. Notice this costs attention. Read this and understand it costs mental energy. Decide if you believe me costs trust. Type your email costs time and privacy. Anyone can be refused in silence. All right, it's very important to understand this. Every visitor arrives with about 100 coins of mental energy. Let's call it that way so you can actually visualize it. A confusing headline costs a few of those coins. Too many fields costs a little bit more. A surprise fee costs a lot more because now they have to redo a decision they thought was actually finished. When the budget hits zero, they absolutely leave. And some people have a even smaller threshold. Okay, so just add one more thing, actually spend someone else's coins, and you want to be careful of what you are going to add. Every step is a tug of war between three forces. We have motivation pulls forward, friction that drags back, and anxiety that pulls sideways to a competitor step. Something like what you see on that picture. People move forward when motivation is greater than the friction plus anxiety. Okay, people move forward when motivation is greater than friction plus anxiety. Most builders, they pour 90% of their time into motivation. Friction is cheaper to fix. And the big winner here. Okay, removing a form field costs 10 minutes. Rewriting an offer costs a week. Or a little bit faster now with AI. Now, this whole masterclass is about the cheap side. Okay, so second invisible rule, getting noticed. Before you can reduce anyone's friction, they have to see you at all. Okay, half the viewers never saw the gorilla. Your call to action button is the gorilla. I don't know if you know this experiment or not, but basically, a few decades ago, someone made an experiment where they placed 5-10 people that they were doing activities like passing a ball or dancing, and they were given a task of counting the number of passes that group of people were doing. Now, in between, was like about 30-40 seconds of them moving the ball around. Then there was an actual person dressed as a full gorilla suit, walking and dancing and taking his time, passing through the entire scene from right to left. And most people never saw the gorilla. Okay, Now we filter for our current goal before we are even aware. People don't ignore your CTA. They never see it. So match your page's words to the goal that actually brought them. This is very important. This is why there's one of the first things I ever do is connect the story from the Facebook ad with the story of the above the fold. It's very important. I've made improvements on sales pages just by changing this simple fact. Anything that looks like an ad becomes invisible. Bright box in the sidebar, rotating carousel, rectangle with a slogan, all skipped. It's called banner blindness. So the lesson is not make the CTA louder, make it more clickable, make it pop, because louder looks more like an ad. Make it look like part of the content in the path of the task. Now, I'm going to talk about the von Resarf effect. It's very, very simple, and every designer knows this stuff. Exactly one thing per screen should look different, okay? That one thing is your primary action. When 4 buttons shout, none of them stands out. Done, okay? So you can't fix it by making the CTA bigger. You fix it by making everything else quieter. This is very, very important. Now, squint at the page. Is the first thing you see your primary CTA? If it is, voila. If it is not, you need to adjust it. Now, be boring in the mechanics so you can be bold in the offer. Sounds fancy, right? But it's actually very, very simple. People spend 90 seconds on your funnel and thousands of hours on every other site. They expect yours to work the same. Your innovation budget is really, really tiny. Okay, so spend it on the offer, the copy, the product, never on where the cart icon lives. This is absolutely fundamental. Now, the third invisible rule is removing friction. Every gram of unnecessary mental work must come off, even if it looks amazing. I'm a designer. I love to make things look amazing, but it's not at the cost of adding friction. Okay, this is where the money is. Now, look at all these numbers. Okay, now, what was the fourth one? It's very, very hard to memorize and to see it, right? Most people can't. And those were just digits. Now imagine a pricing page with 4 plans, 11 features each, and 2 billing, toggles. You ask their brain to do something it physically can't, so they just leave. Okay, your job is not to make the decision easy. We have 2 kinds of load. We have intrinsic and extraneous load. The effort the task itself requires, choosing between a $29 and a $99 plan, takes real thought. That thought is the actual job. Leave it, okay? The effort your design added for no reason, deciphering a label, finding the real button, waiting for a page, every gram of it steals from the decision. You want to absolutely kill it. Now here, 12 digits, impossible. But 3 chunks, it's easy. Okay, chunking is a very, very important rule. Okay, because each one means something. Nothing was removed, only the grouping changed, and the cost actually collapsed. A 12-field form becomes 3 labeled groups: about you, delivery, and payment. Much, much easier. Now, every choice is a tax. 6 jam flavors sold 10 times, more than 24. Okay? More options got more attention and produced far fewer sales. Past a point. Extra choices don't slow the decision. Okay? They cancel completely. So cut 5 plans to 3, for example, and mark one most popular. That might help you avoid that. Avoid the choice tax. Now, 1 page, 1 job, 1 action. Decision times grows with the number and complexity of options. And in a funnel, decision time is escape time. Every second spent deciding is a second a doubt can surface or a phone can buzz. I'll come back later is one of the most expensive sentences in your analytics, by the way. This is why people do retargeting extensively. Complexity can't be destroyed, only moved. Okay, so booking a flight is complicated. And no fun deletes that, okay? Understand it. The only question is, who carries that weight? The customer or you? detect the car type from the number, autofill the city from the postal code, for example, calculate the tax and show one total. Nobody thanks you for it, which is exactly why it works, which is exactly why it wins. Okay. Now, fifth law. On mobile, the pointer is a fat thumb. Okay. The easy zone is the bottom center. The hard zone is the top corners, which is exactly where most builders put a tiny little CTA. Big targets, low on the screen, full width. The whole car is the button, not the little dot. Okay? Make that task very, very simple. How eyes group things. The shape is read before the words. Your visual system groups a pricing page in a tenth of a second. In a tenth of a second. Think about it. Before your conscious brain arrives. A shared boundary groups things more strongly than closeness, which is why the card is the most useful pattern you have, and the selected one gets a highlighted border, so the choice is never in doubt. This is why you see these everywhere, especially with AI designs, because this is very, very popular. Let's talk about the fourth invisible rule, which is creating momentum. Low friction gets people to begin, momentum gets them to actually finish. Okay? Now, the closer people get to the goal, the harder they push. Okay? You cannot look at the funnel the same way from the first page to the second, third, fourth, etc. The closer people get to the goal, the harder they push. Motivation is a slope, weakest at the start. Okay, so show progress and give them some, before they even begin. A loyalty card with 2 or 10 squares pre-stamped, for example, gets finished far more often. This was actually a very popular study that was made about a decade ago. What is it better? People to fill the card or people to already get given like 2 spots already filled? Okay, so front loads the easy steps. Unfinished tasks nag, and incomplete tasks hold a small tension that keeps itching until it's resolved. That's why you left something behind beats any clever subject line. Okay, so a lot of people do this. I also fall for this even today. Okay, your reminder doesn't create desire, it offers relief from a tension that already exists. Just close every loop you open, and this is very, very important. You don't want to spend time or money creating desire. You meet where it is, already exists. Okay? Now, flow is quite fragile. Okay? Most flow breakers were added on purpose to boost conversions. Now, a pop-up mid-checkout, a forced email verification, a chat ping while they type in their card, each one snaps people out of the state that produces the sales. So how do you fix it? 0 interruptions between begin and paid. Put every upsell after payment, where there's no sale left to close. Let's talk about the fifth law, what they remember. Memory decides refunds, repeats purchases, and also adds referrals. People judge an experience by its peak and its end. This is very important, but also in masterclasses and in all that stuff. Okay, not its average. So you don't need every moment to be absolutely amazing. You don't need that. You need one genuine high point and a nailed ending. So first, find and kill your negative peaks, the surprise fee, the crypt error. Then build one positive one. This is very important. Now, your confirmation page is the last note of the song. Let's call it that way. Most read like parking receipt. Don't do that. Okay, this is one of the most important things for lifetime value, for continuity, for ascension, and all that stuff. It's your most underused asset. Everybody tells you this, nobody tells you why, and it could celebrate the decision. Okay, confirmation bias. Say exactly what happens next with a time. Deliver the first win now and ask for the referral at peak goodwill. This is very, very important. Also, if you are a funnel builder delivering work, this is very, very important. Only then offer the upsell when the sale is already banked. First and last are remembered. The middle vanishes, right? Now, strongest benefits first, second strongest last, weakest hidden in between. I always do this also with my content, with my offers. It's very, very important. The strongest one benefits first, so that it attracts their attention. Then the second strongest is last, so that they have that in memory and they want to push that button. All right. Now, in pricing, cheapest plan first, your target plan in the middle, marked as most popular, and the expensive one last to anchor the value if you want to go for the middle option. If you want to go for the most expensive one, just go first expensive, second middle, third cheapest. Okay, so it depends on your choice. Now, divisal rule number 6, putting it to work. Audit, build, and draw the ethical line. Now, a few leaks cause most of the loss. You already know that. So impact is never evenly spread. So effort shouldn't be either. Before you touch a headline, find the single biggest percentage drop between two steps and fix that. Okay, for the love of God, whatever you do, don't change something just for the sake of it. Understand what is the goal of each page and the step in between. Okay, fix that. Now, then you want to find the new biggest drop. Everything else is decoration until the biggest hole is completely plugged in. Okay, that's it. Now, the 8-pass audit. Run these on any funnel in order. Take a screenshot. I'm not really going to talk too much about it. Ask ChatGPT or Claude to run these for you, but these all should be fairly simple, clear, and straight to the point. All right, very important. Now, this is also an exercise that helps you tremendously. Write the journey in sentences before you design a single page. For example, I see an ad, I click, I give my email, I read the guide, and 2 of the mistakes are mine. I look at the page and wonder if it's worth $199. I buy. No page names, no colors, name the motivation, friction, and anxiety at each step. That anxiety list is your copy brief, is your questions they're going to ask for your clients. Okay? Let's talk about persuasion versus manipulation. And we are almost at the end here. Okay? Now, would this still work if the person could see exactly what you were doing? A progress bar survives that test. A fake countdown that resets on refresh does not. Done. Okay? So removing friction from the path is persuasion. Adding friction to the exit is manipulation. Point the power at their goal. Now, let's talk about the funnel builder's oath. 6 commitments, all testable. 1. Remove friction from the customer's path, not add it to their exit. 2. Use urgency only when it's actually absolutely true, especially right now in the AI era. 3rd, show the full price before you ask for a decision. 4th, make the default the option that serves the customer. And then lastly, 5th, design so a person who fully understood your methods would still be glad they bought. Now, let me see if I have, yeah, there we go. Now, once you have it, you can't unsee it, okay? So you gotta study all these rules. The 2 competing CTAs, the 14 field forms, the confirmation pages that reads like a receipt instead of, confirmation bias and all that stuff. You can see it everywhere, and not just on the funnels. You can see them on the experience on when you go to the grocery store, etc. On displays. You see them everywhere. So now, go to your funnel and start removing the distance between a person and the thing they already want. Cheers.